Over the past couple of weeks, I've been looking through a massive collection of Origin-based expansion mods that are made to add more additional Origins to the base mod of Origin SMP, or Origin. And today I want to go through some of the cooler Origins within some of these mods, but before that, make sure to subscribe down below as it's always appreciated. I'm trying to hit 10k before this Friday, so it's my 20th birthday, it'd be pretty epic, and leave a like down below to help the video do better. Anyway, let's move on. All the mods will be linked down below if you want to go check out some of these for yourself. Anyway, let's get started. So first up, we have the Wolf mod. Essentially, the pros behind this one is that your tamed wolves are going to be a lot stronger than ordinary wolves. You and your tamed wolves are also stronger during full moons, but the cons of this is you can only eat meat and you have 2 less hearts than the normal Minecraft player. Moving on to the Strider base Origin, running through the pros and cons, you can walk on lava and immune to fire damage, and you're also extraordinarily fast on lava in comparison to the average player. The cons of which is that you spawn in the Nether and water also hurts you. Moving on to the Slime Origin, your pros and cons for this one is the ore blocks are bouncy, which is definitely an interesting perk of all things, so good luck getting used to just bouncing around all the time when you're trying to climb up mountains. You will also be able to summon a farm to fight for you when in the middle of a battle. The cons of which is when at 2 hearts or less you deal less damage. This is unfortunately not the same slime based mod that is in the Origin SMP currently, as I'm unable to find that one, but moving on. We've got the Snow Golem, which running through the pros and cons, throwing snowballs will deal extra damage. Your damage also increases when in cold biomes, and you also leave a trail of snow behind you. Essentially speaking, as long as you have a shovel, you have infinite based ammo to use to hurt your enemies. Running through the single con, if you move into any biome that is hot, you will take damage, including but not limited to the Badlands, desert biomes, and the entirety of the Nether itself. Next up, we've got the Evoker Origin. Running through the pros and cons, we've got the pros of you're able to summon the Evoker base fangs into a certain direction. You also have a 15% chance not to break your Totem of Undying when you're using it, and also pillagers and illagers are like you and won't attack you unless you provoke them. Running through the cons, villagers are against you, meaning that iron golems are made to attack you on sight. Running through the next Origin, you start off with having 2 health bars. But you know what the problem with this one is? You're immobile, because guess what? You're a cobblestone. Running through the pros and cons, you have less abrogation range, you're immune to starvation and drowning, you have natural regeneration, you're also half the size, and you have a crap ton of health. But the cons of this one is you take more damage from pickaxes, you're also completely immobile and a 95% jump decrease, you cannot eat, and who thought it was a good idea to be a cobblestone? Come on. Running through the next Origin, we've got the Dimensional Beam, which the pros is you have an extraordinarily long attack range and reach. The Ender Dragon is also completely and entirely neutral to you. You can also adapt to the end of the Nether dimensions, you also have Ender Particles, and you can teleport to the Nether or back to the overworld, but teleporting is a bit of a weird one as you're not guaranteed to be on a block or not. Sometimes you'll be inside of them and suffocate to death. Cons of which is that water hurts and you're slower and weaker in the overworld. Next up, we've got a Creeper base Origin. The pro is that you can explode at absolute will, and creepers will absolutely avoid you as much as they can. The cons of which is your skin is completely green, and if you're near a cat, you will take damage. Sounds about right. Moving on, we've got the Zombified Origin. The pros of which is you have some bonus base armor, you don't have hunger, and you're also immune to poison. You will also increase the rate of nearby zombie spawners, and common mobs will not attack you without being provoked first. Running through the cons is you're completely unable to sleep, but you can also prevent others from sleeping. Phantoms will not spawn though for you. Villagers will immediately run from you, and iron golems will immediately attack you. You'll burn in the sunlight, and if you punch any villagers, they will also turn into zombie villagers. Moving on to the Monkey Origin, the pros of which is you can grapple onto any block, but the cons, you have to sleep above Y75 or on top of leaves. You can only eat vegetables, and water will do damage to you because you're an incompetent monkey that cannot swim. Moving on to the Warden Origin, running through the pros and cons, you're taller, slower, more health, and increased reach and more damage than the average Minecraft player. You've also got natural bonus armor, and running through the cons, you're a carnivore, meaning you can only eat meat, and you're also blind when you hit underneath half health. Moving on to a bee-based Origin, you have Stinging Fists. Essentially, when you hit any form of mob, you will give the mob poison. When near multiple different flowers, you gain regen 1, and your hunger also increases. Bees do not get angry if you take hungry for them, and you also have the ability to slow fall. Unfortunately, this variant of the Bee Origin is not like the one that's being used by Tubbo in the Origin SMP, unfortunately. Haven't been able to find that one directly just yet. You also have 2 less hearts than the average Minecraft player, and you cannot eat any form of meat whatsoever. Moving on to the Guardian-based Origins, you have spikes that hurt. Attack is essentially a form with thorns. You can swim easily and quickly, and you can also breathe underwater. And you can evolve into an Elder Guardian by killing one. Essentially speaking, you go near any other players and you can give them a mining fatigue by just simply being near them. But the massive con of which is you cannot breathe on land, and you're also a fair bit slower when on land. Moving on to a Fox-based Origin, the pros and cons running through them. The pros are you gain speed around other people, berries give extra food points, and sweet berries do not hurt you when you walk through the bushes. As well as your item range pickup is also larger. The con of which is you have 2 less hearts. Now this definitely isn't the same version that's been used in the Origin SMP, especially the more balanced variant of it, but it's still an interesting Origin base nonetheless. Running through the fun ones now, we've got the Nukalin. Essentially the pros of which is you can dive bomb by jumping off a thing in midair, essentially meaning that you have an elytra that's invisible. You can go forward at high speeds if the dive bomb mode, and you're also immune to poison. The cons of which is on death, you will leave a massive poison radiation cloud, and you'll also die, but you will also nuke massive areas costing your life. And you're also vulnerable to water, just thought you know. Moving on to the Shark in Origin, the pros of which is you can blast through water at high speeds. You'll deal a lot more damage when fully submerged in water. You can also see water clearer than most people, and can also be toggled with a secondary power keybind. You also have a faster swim speed. You can break blocks underwater as quickly as on land, and you only fall in water when wanting to. Essentially, you have the ability to float. Moving on to the cons, you are in the aquatic group of animals. You can only breathe in water, and you cannot breathe on land. You can also only eat meat, and you cannot move quickly on land unless you're hopping around. Moving on to the Lava Sharkakin, the pros of which is you can rip through lava at high speeds. You can also see better in lava. You can also have the ability of swimming in lava without burning up like a mofo. You're also immune to fire, and you're also faster in lava than you are on land. And you also deal more damage when you're on fire. You have beautiful flame particles because why not? Running through the cons, you will spawn in the Nether. You can only eat meat, and you cannot move quickly on land unless you hop around, but you can breathe on land, so Lava Sharkakin's slightly better than the normal one. Anyhow, that was a brief discussion of a collection of origins and a collection of different origin-based expansion mods. Anyway, I'll leave the links for all of those in the description down below. Let me know if you want to see more of these type of videos covering awesome mods and mods expansions, but until next time guys, I'm going back to the dark place where I came, and goodbye.